Okay, so this is a special little bonus for all the participants in our video webinar for some things that Rav Jill wanted to say and didn't get to say. So we're gonna do it now and give you all this little extra, extra bonus, bonus clip or outtakes. Yeah. Okay. So the question we wanted to talk about was about spirituality and theology, and how all of these events affect you or affect people from a theological perspective. Yeah.
Right. And in addition, what does it say about the actions that we need to take right now? So I was thinking a lot about this, and I wanted to say that there is a story in our tradition, in the Jewish tradition, Jewish Christian tradition, that I think is a really wonderful story to keep in our minds and a way to move forward. So it's the story of Moses at the burning bush. Number one, Moses has just killed an Egyptian. So he's running. He is running for his life. He comes into the desert and he stops and sees a bush that's burning, but it isn't consumed. Now, what's important here is that he notices. He doesn't walk by it. He's aware enough that he sees something that is not right, that is confusing. So he stops. He turns to look and investigate. I think that's really important that we turn, okay? When Moses turns is at that point that God, and I want you to have a really expansive understanding of God in this text, because we'll come to that later, but it's not like the guy in the sky. It's kind of just, it's like the God of all, okay, the divine energy. So Moses turns and basically, at that point, this divine source calls out and says, Moshe, Moshe, Moses, Moses, twice. And Moses immediately says, Hineni. Moses says, I'm present. Note that this is really different than in the Garden of Eden, where after they eat the fruit, Adam and Eve, and God calls out, Ayeka, where are you? Adam and Eve hide. They don't say Hineni, they hide, which is one response to a call. So Moses responds with, I'm here, I'm available. And at that point, God says to Moses, take off your shoes, you're on holy ground. And I think the message there at this point is when you bring presence to the place that you are, the possibility of experience, this is holy ground, even when you're running for your life, even when something's happening that you don't understand, this too is holy ground. That's a challenge of our time. So after God says this is holy ground, God gives Moses this mission, this crazy mission that, okay, I'm going to ask you, I've noticed our people, they're suffering, and you're going to go and free the people. Moses' first response is one of, who me? He says in Hebrew, it's me anochi, like, who am I that you would choose me, that you would call out to me? I'm nobody, and I have a lot of faults. It's a very an honest response of, it reminds me of what we were talking about in our conversation, is that it's us, okay? It's us, and at this point, Moses is kind of like a nobody in a way. So he says, mi anochi, and God's response is, I will be with you. I will be with you. Now, then Moses, this is the big part here. Moses says, okay, all right, I'm going to go, but I need to know your name, says to God. Who shall I tell the people that you are? And this is the big deal, because God responds in a way that in most Torah commentary translations, this is not even translated. God says, Ehya asher ehya. Meaning, the literal translation is, I will be. God's name is, I will be what I will be. Now, the root of Ehya is being, to be, all right? And so God responds that God's name is being, but in the sense of becoming, in the sense of who I am is unfolding, is a process. That and it's not a correct translation to say I am who I am. That's not correct. The correct translation is I will be who I will be. And Aviva Zornberg, what she says about the translation of what Ehya Asher Ehya is I am the very principle of becoming, of allowing the possible to happen. That's God's name. So we want this certainty. We want to know what's the path, what's the right action. And the answer is that it's unfolding and it's becoming. What?
I was like, oh my God, that was really breathtaking what you just said.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, it was also breathtaking because my feeling after having done this hour-long thing, this conversation, was that we're unfolding.
Yes.
Exactly that. Is that this conversation that we're having is something about figuring it out right now.
That's right. That's right.
Like, not expecting. We had no idea we were coming here. We didn't know that there was such a huge battle in front of us. We had no idea. And now we are becoming something.
That's right.
The humanity that we're sort of like part of, the humanity that's wanting to have a human experience of compassion and empathy and all that, what you called the divine feminine or wherever, that is, well, it's happening now. It is becoming now.
Yeah, and you know what? We as human beings, we want an answer. Like I was a little off guard. I was caught a little bit off guard by the questions in the chat about, well, what are we going to do? I mean, I understand that, and I think it's important. But I think that in every day, it's asking the question, what's the next right step? We don't have necessarily a plan. What we do have is we have each other, and we can have a commitment to be engaged in the conversation. And as we continue to take each step together, then the process unfolds. And I know that as human beings, that is somewhat uncomfortable, but I actually think that is the divine feminine part of trusting the process of unfolding, and that the important thing is to be in it. The important thing is to have friends and to be engaged. And then I'm reminded of the that poem that Michael Walzer says about when we left Egypt. When we left Egypt, is that we didn't know where we're going. We're stepping into the wilderness, but what we do know is that we're going to hold hands and we're going to walk together. It's about having faith in that, having faith in our own best selves, in making spiritual friendship connections, having faith in each other, and that we're going to walk through this. We're going to walk. This is the wilderness. We're in a wilderness. We don't know. So.
Wow.
So I'm still recording. This is this outtake. Should I stop recording?
I feel like I have lots of other questions.
Okay.
But what I'm thinking is that we'll continue the conversation and build on it.
Okay.
Build up the rest of our questions and hear from other people what we're unfolding.
So, one thing that I want to do is that, this story has been in my mind as a model for taking action. And I do have the intention of writing this up because I think it has the elements of a path, which starts with noticing. It starts with recognizing our inadequacy and still being present, like holding both of those things. I feel inadequate and knowing that, God says, I'll be with you, okay? And that believing in the process. So I'm going to write this up. I don't know when.
Okay, fantastic.
Hopefully this week.
Fabulous.
So,
all right, fantastic.